Welcome to Getting Ready for Your Genuine Contact Workshop. I am Rachel Bolton, Program Director for the Genuine Contact Program, also Senior Consultant at DLR International Consultancy, and I'm here putting this video together with you with Birgitt Williams, one of the founders of the Genuine Contact Program and also someone who I work alongside with. She is also a senior consultant at DLR. Birgitt, before we get started with today's video, I wanted to turn it over to you to just say a few words of welcome.
I welcome each of you that is entering into this work with Genuine Contact Workshops. Our intention is that you have exactly the learning that is right for you at this time in your own development and to meet your own business needs. So welcome, and Rachel, it's always a joy to work with you.
Yes, absolutely. So the video today is all about getting ready for your workshop. Whether this workshop is based on one of the 9 modules of the Genuine Contact Program, or whether it's a module created to teach some kind of application of genuine contact in personal and organizational development. Either way, we believe that it's valuable to take some time for personal reflection to get ready. Getting ready for your learning might not be something you've thought much about before. We believe taking some time before starting a workshop to get in touch with your personal readiness for learning is an important way to set the foundation for focusing and deepening your learning for the best possible outcomes. This orientation video is intended to walk you through our way to get ready. We've divided the readiness work into 3 segments, and we're going to suggest that you pause each segment to reflect, take some notes, and do whatever feels right for you to be in readiness for your learning. First, we're going to take a look at where readiness fits into the bigger picture. The evolutionary spiral is one of the tools of the Genuine Contact Program, and as with all of our tools, it has multiple applications. One of the great things about the tools in Genuine Contact is that there are not so many actual tools to learn. However, as you learn with us, you will discover a wide array of uses for the same tool. So back to readiness. This diagram is meant to be read from the bottom up. You'll see that it's important to ensure readiness for learning before heading into engaging with learning from the workshop. Engaging in the learning is actually the second level. We use a variety of means and mediums to provide you with opportunities to engage with learning. At some point in the workshop, construction begins. And what we mean by that is that you start to think about how you might or can use that learning. Following the workshop, you get the opportunity to implement what you have learned. And then we provide mentoring circles for you to have a peer-to-peer opportunity to keep coming back in that performance management, to examine your learning, your implementation, and your emergent learning and questions, getting clarification. So this is where readiness shows up in this evolutionary spiral of your learning. Let's get ready to dive in. As we said, we've broken down this readiness into 3 segments, and this first segment is all about the 5 beliefs that underpin the Genuine Contact Way and the Genuine Contact Program. We are going to present these 5 beliefs one by one. I know I said this already, but I'm going to suggest it again. Make sure that you take some time. You might want to pause after every one of these beliefs to reflect about how that belief might play out in the life of an organization from your perspective. So the first belief is that we believe that every organism, including the organization, has within it the blueprint for its own optimal health and balance. We believe that focusing on genuine contact enables individuals and organizations to achieve the individual and organizational health and balance that is needed for optimal effectiveness. Positive change in the organization is directly linked to positive change in individuals. Both are required for sustainable new ways of working. We believe that spirit matters. Perhaps we call it conscious energy matters. That through spirit, or conscious energy, all of creation is connected, and that people are precious. We believe that change with its accompanying loss, grief work, and conflict is constant. Organizations that develop mastery in working with change can sustain optimal effectiveness. These leaders and organizations recognize that change cannot be managed, that energy spent trying to manage change is wasted energy, and that productive use of individual and organizational energy is achieved by working with change rather than against it. And the last belief we want to share with you right now, making up these 5 beliefs of genuine contact, is that we believe in keeping it simple. Simple frameworks and processes enable success with complex situations. In keeping it simple, we recognize that any sustainable change must begin from the inside and cannot be externally initiated or driven. So hopefully along the way, you've been pausing to consider these beliefs and how they might impact an organization, what your perspective is about these beliefs within organizations. I'm going to encourage you now to pause the video one more time and look at it all, review your notes, and add any more reflections that you might have before we step into the next readiness segment.
Rachel, I think what will happen over time for people is that if they take several of the genuine contact workshops and do this readiness work before each workshop, that it would be great to compare the notes and compare the personal development over time.
Absolutely, that's a great tip. And we know that it can be quite the learning journey as you explore all of those different workshops. So this is a great way to come back to your readiness for each one of those beliefs and prepare yourself differently for each one of the workshops. So we're going to look now, and Birgitt, I'll turn it over to you to share about this next one, which is about looking at your learning development goal.
This is the second segment that we have for you in your readiness journey for the workshop. Every time that you enter into what is a workshop or a learn shop, as our colleague and friend in Sweden, Eva Svensson, always says, she says, they're learn shops, we learn. So let's think of it that way. It's valuable to understand your own learning development goal. And that would mean that as you come into the workshop, there's a particular learning development goal that you have, that you bring to your awareness, and that gives you some information as to why you're taking that workshop and what you want to get out of it. In this next slide, we take you through a tool that will assist you in reflecting about your development goal at this time in your own growth. Again, the tool is simple to learn and will be of use in multiple applications, which you will discover as you learn the genuine contact way. We tend to provide simple tools, and then you can apply those tools in so many applications. This is one. So we have a medicine wheel tool, and this particular version of that medicine wheel tool is called the service delivery model. In the center, so you read it from the center first, in the center you have your development goal. So just write that down. What's your development goal for this workshop? What is it that you want to develop in yourself by taking this workshop? Once you have that clear, then you're going to be going, what I call northward or up on the screen, and go to leadership for achieving the goal. And what you want to do at that point is to ask yourself, okay, if I have this development goal, what is the leadership for achieving this goal? And probably some of that leadership is coming from within yourself. So you might want to write down some things that you know about the leadership for achieving the goal. Then, when you've got that thought through, go to the right of this wheel, or what, the east. And here we have vision of the outcomes. And that should be outcomes, I think, not just one outcome. But the basic question is, if you accomplish this development goal and you have leadership for accomplishing the goal towards getting some outcomes, what is your current vision of the outcomes that you have for yourself from being able to meet this goal? I then suggest that you go to the south, or the lower portion of this wheel. And what you'll notice here is something that says the community of stakeholders to be involved. What that refers to is, if you meet this development goal, if you fulfill it, and you have a particular vision for certain outcomes to happen, who else do you need to be involved so that you can accomplish the goal and you can accomplish those outcomes? Who else gets involved in this with you? And that might be not during the workshop itself, but it might be as soon as your learning, this part of your learning is done. It might be the first people that you apply your learning with. And then once you have that thought through, go to the left-hand side to the west, and you'll see method there. And what is valuable for you to know about yourself at this point is, what is your best learning style? How do you learn best? And what can you do to make sure that you get the most out of this learning? Even right now, some of you might really enjoy journaling. Some of you might need to pause a lot and go for a walk. You each have different needs. That is your method for carrying out your best learning. So this is the time to take note of that and to note what you can put into your method, your personal method for meeting this development goal to do the learning that you have set out here to do. And you might want to pause, step back, and reflect on this whole picture that you just created for yourself. And at that point, what some people end up doing is they adjust their development goal because they have a new picture of their development goal. So if need be, you can go through this a second time and make adjustments.
Perfect. Thank you for walking us through this model and this next segment of our readiness. If you've taken the time and paused and worked your way through it, we're going to invite you now into the third segment of our readiness, which is about having some time to look at your current perspective. Time you enter into a workshop or a learn shop, it's valuable to understand your current perspective about organizations. In the next slide, we're going to take you through a tool that will assist you in reflecting about your current perspective. This tool, as with the medicine wheel tool, has many applications, and this taking a look at your current perspective is just one of them. The tool that we're sharing with you here is the Deep Essence tool. And this is something that you will commonly see in many of our genuine contact-based workshops. So considering for yourself your current perspective about organizations, that current perspective is going to help you in your readiness for whatever workshop you may be about to take on, as it will help you to be really clear about how you see organizations in relationship to what you're learning. Working with this tool today, we're going to start by looking at those outer lines. And you can imagine these as that point at the bottom being the center of a sphere, and these lines radiating outwards, and then of each of these layers of what looks like a pie being like the layers of an onion, one around the other, until you get to the outer surface. Starting with the story, consider for yourself, what is the story that you tell yourself about organizations? What are some notes that you can make about organizations? What is that story? The story, you may want to pause after each one of these steps and make some notes for yourself before you move on. That story then gives you some clues about the spirit of organizations from your perspective. What can you tell yourself? What do you notice about the spirit of organizations? When you have that story and spirit, those two together, when you look at them, let you then enter in, not at the top or the bottom of this pie, but right in the middle, in the layer of assumptions. When you have a story about your current perspective on organizations, and then you notice what that tells you about the spirit of organizations, what are the assumptions that come out of that story and spirit? Make some notes about those assumptions. They can be assumptions that feel good and positive about organizations. They can also be assumptions that might not feel so good. No judgment here about these assumptions, simply noticing what is true about your assumptions about organizations. Underneath those assumptions are the values that support those assumptions. So what values do you notice about that organizations have that support those assumptions? And then underneath all of that is the sense of purpose. What is the purpose of organizations based on those values and assumptions that you're seeing? Getting really clear on these layers. Once you are clear about those layers, you can then move up into those top layers of the Deep Essence tool and look at the structure of organizations. What do you know about the structure of organizations that you want to make note of for yourself here? Structure that is supported by all of these other layers that we've been looking at. And finally, we get to behaviors and actions. And behaviors and actions are often the first thing that we notice or that we want to talk about in relationship to anything when we're working in this way. But in this case, when we think about organizations, one of the first things we often think about is behaviors and actions. And yet, by taking the time to look at all of these underlying pieces first, we're looking at all of the things that lead to the behaviors and actions as outcomes. So what do you notice about your current perspective of behaviors and actions in organizations, and how do they connect back to all of these other layers? I've presented all of this to you in just a moment or two, and I'm quite conscious that taking the time to really look at all of these layers is going to take you much longer and might be the kind of thing that is homework for a lifetime as you come back to this repeatedly to look at how your perspective around organizations is changing with all of the new learning that you may have.
Rachel,
yeah.
one part, you did a great job in highlighting each of those aspects of this Deep Essence tool and the reflections that people would have about organizations in general. it's valuable to know what your perspective is about organizations, just as Rachel had said. I wanted to highlight the radial arm that is about spirit, because this is the part of this particular tool that people, and especially cross-culturally, have the most difficulty with, because in some languages, to translate spirit, it simply refers to some kind of Holy Spirit. That is that could be meant, but it's not the interpretation of spirit here. Spirit is what you feel about it. For example, when you go into an organization, I think of going into a particular hotel on the roadside, and you can feel the spirit of it. They don't really care about the customers. They process you quickly. They want you to get you to your room. There's really no spirit of people engagement or quality. I go into a different hotel and somebody is there with some water to drink and asks you to be comfortable and to take a seat, and they still process your registration quickly, and you feel quite different. You feel cared about. Both of those examples have a different spirit. So I wanted to just simply give that illustration about spirit so that you know what we're talking about.
Thank you for that. It's always great to have someone chime in with a little bit of a story and example when you're working through a model like this. So once you have worked through this, this is the end of those 3 segments of readiness for learning. And we have a commitment to you, somebody who is watching this video. If you did this readiness work, we believe that you will get more out of your learning experience with us or with any other genuine contact trainer working around the world. We're committed to helping our workshop participants with learning retention and learning application. And our measure of success for us is if you are successful in what you set out to accomplish. We, as we told you at the beginning, are Rachel Bolton, that's me. I'm the program director for the Genuine Contact program and also senior consultant with Dalar International Consultancy. And I've been here today with Birgitt Williams, one of the founders of the Genuine Contact program and also a senior consultant with Dalar. We are really happy to have been here to offer this work for you, whether you were learning with us or with another trainer as part of our Genuine Contact community. That's all I've got for today. As we wrap up, Birgitt, are there any last words that you would like to share with those who are watching?
Simply about, there are many trainers in the Genuine Contact program around the world. And Rachel, what's the website that's the official website for Genuine Contact? Because people can find different trainers there.
Yes, you can find trainers listed on genuinecontact.net.
Fantastic. Rachel, thank you so much for your contributions in this. It was a joy to do this together, and we hope that it's going to be a benefit to anyone who is willing to do the readiness work prior to taking a workshop.
Yes, it's been great to put this together, and for those who are learning with us, we look forward to seeing you in the next steps of our Learn Shop together.